Hey! Hey!
Oh, hey.
Are you working on the plane, or can I take it on a trip?
No, she's good to go. Where you headed?
I'm gonna go down to Salem, Oregon to see how they're making out on that B-17 restoration.
There's a B-17 in Salem, Oregon?
Oh yeah, don't you know the story of the gas station bomber from Milwaukee, Oregon?
No, never heard of it.
Well, it's this crazy story. You should come along.
I need to get that spinner repaired, yeah.
Oh, okay, good idea. Well, I'm gonna take these folks along, and we're gonna go check it out for ourselves. Let's go.
Oh man, one of these days he's gonna figure it out.
This channel is about working on aircraft and flying those airplanes. So come take a seat and let's go for a flight. Protect the tail from any sudden burn. So, master mixture, carburet's cold, throttle slight, prompt.
I apparently don't know how to operate any of my electronic devices anymore.
50 kilo traffic, 2 o'clock, 3 miles, turning eastbound, 3,500, climbing will be at sky high.
Traffic in sight, 50 kilo.
901 Mike, as you turn eastbound, traffic will be 10 o'clock and 2 miles southbound, aircraft at speed bar 3,400.
Looking for traffic, 9 north.
50 kilo contact, Seattle Center 124.2, let them know you have the traffic going eastbound in sight.
24-2, 50 kilo, we'll look at phone.
Salem Air Force Nation India, time 1655 Zulu, wind calm, visibility 10, sky condition clear below 12,000, temperature 26, dew point 13, altimeter 29 or 84. Visual approach with my 3134 in use. Notice. Wind operating 1 mile southeast, approach runway 31, 152 feet AGL. Advise initial contact via destination India. November 90250 Kilo radar service terminated. Squawk VFR, frequency change approved today.
Alright, squawking and talking. Stetson 90250 Kilo. Salem Tower, Stetson 90250 Kilo, about 10 miles north, inbound, full stop landing with India.
90250 Kilo, Salem Tower, make right traffic, runway 34, report midfield right down.
Right downwind 34, report the midfield, 50 Kilo.
50 Kilo, same type aircraft to go.
Stetson 50 Kilo is a Sierra 108.
So 50 Kilo, Beach 60 helicopter departing Salem will be at northbound tier distance and altitude.
Roger, we'll keep an eye out for the helicopter. We're now descending through 3,000 feet. We're about 5 miles now, 50 Kilo.
For 605 traffic, 5 miles north, inbound 3,000 feet, contact Seattle Center.
We'll be searching for traffic, contact Seattle Center, helicopter 2038.
Everybody had a hard year. Nobody got their pay. What a time for the lonely ones. Thought every dog had its day. What a time for the wicked, the hungry and the brave. Ain't no time left to pretend. The car is on its way.
And Salem Tower, we're midfield for 3-4.
50 Kilo, runway 34, clear 2 left.
Clear 2 land, 3-4, 50 Kilo.
Had an answer. Nobody had to wait. What a time for
Depth
the
perch,
righteous.
Nacho in.
The hero never came. Ain't nobody out there like us.
Second Nacho in.
There ain't no two stones the same.
Nice little continuous turn here.
What a time for the righteous. The hero never came. Ain't nobody out there like us. Or are we all the same? I'll be alright. 'Cause I got you on my shoulder. I'll be alright. We'll get some rest when we're older. We'll be alright. We'll be alright.
Five 0 Kilo, left turn Juliet, remain this frequency, taxi depart to be the Rapids, taxi Charlie.
Alright, turning at Juliet, staying with you to Charlie, the ramp. And we're going to the B-17 project, if you could guide us there.
50 Kilo, Roger, be straight into the ramp. You'll see the little red Gremlin there. You can park it right next to him, and you'll see the museum sign on the hangar there.
Insight, 50 Kilo, going over there.
Well, we have arrived here in Salem, Oregon. We're in front of the B-17 Alliance. This is the home of the restoration for the gas station bomber that was just down the road over here south of Portland in Milwaukee, Oregon. And we're going to go inside, we're going to talk to Terry, and we're going to get a full story of how this airplane went from being a World War II surplus airplane to being flown out here to Oregon, how this airplane served most of its life on top of a gas station, and the stories that they're going to tell. So let's go on inside.
Show you what we have.
Since the restaurant closed down in 2020, they now encourage veterans to show up at the museum for coffee and donuts, and they even have guest speakers at these meetings.
Thank you, everybody. I want to also commend all the volunteers that put this on today. You know, putting the chairs and the tables up, and the parking situation, and the donuts, and the coffee, and all the things that happen to make this, the name tags. Thank you for putting that all together so that we can have an effective meeting and be together. It's really awesome. Thank you.
Our sponsor got some bad news today from the government, but in the back. I don't have your name. You know what? Talk very the morning.
Michael.
Michael with Michael's Mortgage. What is it?
Mortgage Marketplace.
Is
Mortgage Marketplace and Level Real Estate.
Level Realty Group.
Realty Group.
We are appreciative of you guys bringing the coffee and the donuts, but your friendly smiles and you feel like you're just part of the thing. You don't have to do any rivets, just bring coffee, donuts, and smile. Thank you very much.
We rivet too.
There you go.
That's right. Thank you, Michael. And they actually do rivets. So Michael and Michael, Mike and Michael, their father and son, they do rivets together. Here you are right here. It's really an awesome thing. Thank you so much for sponsoring us every month. Oh, Mike and Michael are now promoted to riveting on the cockpit. Is that exciting or what? Stand up and let us cheer for you. That is awesome, isn't it? Talk about generations. Generations. That's what we're doing here.
Veterans, there's a few of us around here. Just want to raise your hands. You can stand if you want, but I'm going to go through them quickly. World War II and Korea. Just raise your hands. Veterans from World War II or Korea. That guy right there. I know.
And Paul.
And Vietnam. Welcome home. Thank you. Grenada. Panama. Any of the Gulf Wars. And then we're just going to do the normal Army, Navy, Marines, Coasties, Air Force, and the Space Force 9 when you're United. You're not people. And I'm here for a guy who's not supposed to be here.
It's completely clean. We use a laser to clean the metal. We clean the inside up, get all the surface corrosion out of it, and paint it with epoxy paint, so that now it's better than it was when it rolled off the factory. This is all new material, and it's all been riveted, and that's where that dentist struggle was on this piece here. And it's ready to go. As soon as I can replace this piece, the piece that goes on here, and 3 pieces that go in here. But once that's in, then we're going to start riveting this whole thing together, and it will be ready to go. So once we have that number 2 nacelle done, we'll start with this one here.
This is in pretty rough shape.
Yeah, this is Oregon weather.
Yes.
Bird, everything, well, can't say that, I guess, but bird crap. And,
I can censor that.
Yeah, you can censor that.
I find myself censoring some of my videos as well too.
Yeah.
So, oof.
All these panels.
Oh,
just
that is-
completely rotted out.
Yeah, that's
Now, there's several ways you can do this. You can either jig it, which means you have to build the jigs for it, or you can do it in sections, which is the way I did that one there. I did it in sections so that I never lost conformity of anything.
even in this state, this is really impressive to be this close to.
Let me show you when the field is.
This is just an extra shop area.
This is a cleaning and sandblasting booth.
Yeah, it's cool how the laser can remove not only paint but sealant
It-
and
it-
corrosion.
It's slower on sealant.
So you said this looks like maybe 300 or 400 rivets, maybe.
Yeah, at least, I mean,
And how many did you have to drill back out?
3.
That's remarkable. I mean, I cut my teeth as a sheet metal mechanic back in the early '90s,
Yeah.
and so I can appreciate this kind of work.
The true trick was that I was doing the bucking, okay? And where people had drilled out something large, like I can show you this rivet right here. Okay?
Yeah.
This rivet here was drilled out too large.
Mm-hmm.
The rivet was wobbling in there, okay? Normally you put a rivet in there and you try to shoot it. If you don't have oversized rivets, the thing goes sideways.
It'll bend over. Yeah.
So what I had to do was I had to finesse this and help him along, you know, to
Mhm.
get it to where I was happy with it.
Yeah.
But every rivet in here that you see is like, these are original rivets, they just haven't been knocked out yet.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for something like that, you can go a little bit longer with the rivet because the hole's bigger,
Because
it's
it
going to
fills in.
swell more.
Yeah,
But then you have to manage that so you don't tip the rivet over,
The
or
thing that's
toenail it.
really important though is that you get the rivets to sit down. And you can see in some of these cases, the rivet is not sitting absolutely flat.
Oh yeah.
So I had to work with him. Now, he's got a little ding there, a little ding there. I'm not worried about that, okay? That's not gonna hurt a thing, okay? But he got them flat. And,
And you know what? That's a tricky spot to put
yes, it is.
a rivet die.
It is.
That is
So,
remarkable.
that's the kind of work that we can get our volunteers to do. All the water dams that was done by sitting there in the Oregon weather
Yeah.
for years and years. From about here up, it's gonna take that laser or something like it to clean it all up, but it still has to be completely undone. If you notice here, see the corrosion up here? Corrosion up there at the top?
Yeah, it goes underneath the stringers.
Yeah.
Rear hatch.
Hatch access.
And I've noticed you've been tagging a lot of your parts to kind of keep track
yeah,
of everything. We do that in commercial aviation as well.
Yeah, this is stuff that goes on that damn door.
Now, was this airplane ever painted, or?
Nope. It was-
So this is
It was
original.
painted internally. See, when they first started building the B-17 back in 30s up to it's 36, I think, is when they first started flying it. First part of the war. They were interested in getting them out the door.
Right.
And paint was not even considered. And then as the war went on, these airplanes were used in the Asian theater. They realized that corrosion was a major factor. It's not like the aircraft that we used on aircraft carriers, they took corrosion into account. But they need the speed, get the thing out of that assembly line.
Oh, wow.
Give you a little idea of just how much graffiti and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was surprising. People went through here and stole things, broke things. There were probably more people that went through this B-17 than any other B-17 alive.
Probably, yeah, because of its public status and
For
everything.
70 years sitting up there.
Well, Robert Yeaman, you know who you are and you know what you did.
That's right.
Well, this was just a fascinating story. When I found out about how Art got this airplane here, I literally fell in love with this airplane.
I would say probably 85% of the story is true. I don't know. You know, I cannot speak for.
You not can confirm or nor deny.
I can't confirm or deny, but I know that Art was a very interesting guy.
Yeah, he seemed like a colorful kind of character.
And he did a service.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
He wanted to hang a banner from it.
No.
So we had to get all brand new blades, or serviceable blades. Yeah. So now it's basically this focus. I've got the.
You know, some people just don't know.
Yeah, I've got the right tools and stuff like that. But I've lost a couple as well. main cylinder.
It'll be on a podcast from their website that we can share. Download. So when they do a show on
This is Art Lacey. This is our founder, basically. Art was the one who brought the plane out. And this is the last pump from his gas station that we rescued.
Oh, wow.
They had used it as a mailbox. You can see the rivets there where the mailbox was. Dottie donated this 3 or 4 years ago to us. She had all the uniforms, dog tags, and they had put together National Geographic, you know, the fold-out maps that they have.
Sure.
They each bought one before he got shipped out. And what he did was he took every square on the map and he had a different greeting. So when she got a letter from him, because sensors were real active in those days.
Right.
So if it said, "My dearest darling," she could pull out the map and go, that's where his ship was. This is what the diorama will look like, pretty much, where he's got his 5 pumps that he
Right.
started with, and
Very
the big
early
plane
on.
over, ladder. I think he's even got some figures going up into the plane because Art let people up in it. There's even a story that somebody tells of a 10-year-old couple came in with a 10-year-old boy, and they got to doing something, and the boy disappeared. And they looked all over for him, and they finally went up in the plane. He was sitting up in here. The boy turned out to be John Denver. Art always was getting sideways with the county commission because their favorite word was no. And Art didn't take no for an answer. So he was talking with Johnson, and Johnson said, "Well, Art, all you have to do is form your own city within your property, and then you can do what you want. You can tell the commission to get stuff." So Art had this sign made up, which we still have, and Art goes down to the county commission, and it's the old, "We can do this easier, we can do it hard." And he started out with just the gas station. Eventually he had a diner, and then he also had a little motel.
Yeah.
Well, hi.
Hi. Well, Terry, thanks again for letting me come down here and get all this access to this amazing airplane and a fantastic story about how this airplane, it is from my understanding, it's the lowest time,
Lowest airtime of any B-17 in the world.
any of the world.
Of the
ever
world.
flown. And you know the reason why is because that airplane never saw any action, right?
Correct. It was a surplus aircraft from Otis, Oklahoma.
Yes. Okay. And the gentleman who was responsible for that, getting it to Oregon, his name is
Art Lacey.
Art Lacey.
He is my grandfather-in-law.
Okay.
So I am connected to the family.
Right.
It was my husband's idea, the grandson, to change the way we looked at the aircraft. So it wasn't just an iconic landmark sign for a business anymore. You know, we started realizing in the 80s that they were relics, right? And by the 90s, the warbird movement came along. And then by 96, we were like, we gotta fix this. This is a B-17 in our front yard.
Right.
What are you gonna do? So we changed the way we looked at it. It wasn't a sign for our business anymore. It was a historical treasure.
Right, exactly.
And so that changed the course of action for the family and how we dealt with it. And you can hear the people working in the background. Isn't that awesome?
It is.
Love that noise.
Yeah, always got something to do on a project this big. So I
Yes.
apologize for the sound, but this is a restoration shop, but it's also a museum, right? And can you kind of go explain some of the things that are in the
Yeah.
museum and what people can expect to see when they get here?
So I'm going to give a little bit of background of why we became a museum.
Okay.
So we had the restaurant, the Bomber Restaurant. It was 1948 until closing in COVID, 2020. And the veterans flocked to us because we had a B-17 in our front yard. So they were a magnet to our restaurant, to our family, to all the things that we did.
Right.
And they started bringing us their stories. And they were coming to the end of their life and they needed to share their stories. And so then we were like, well, once we got the nonprofit settled, we decided we had to start capturing those. So for 2 decades, we've been collecting their stories on video. And we also have all their uniforms and a lot of different things like that because they wanted to make sure who they left it to cared.
Right.
And we cared.
Yeah.
It was obvious.
Absolutely.
And so now we've turned those stories into the stories you hear when you go through the museum.
Excellent. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's really lovely and it's unique because it's not just an artifact, it tells a story. Why should we learn from that? How can we learn to be a better citizen from it? What did World War II, why were they the greatest generation? And what did they do for us?
Exactly. That's awesome.
It's pretty awesome,
Right.
The whole thing is, the big picture is wonderful.
Right. So I know on your YouTube channel you actually have a full-blown story of how this airplane got from Oklahoma and why this particular airplane and not another one.
Right?
Right? I'll link that video.
Okay.
And It'll be up here in the corner.
Okay, good.
You can go and check that out on your own. But it almost like when I tell that story to people, they're gobsmacked because that this was actually basically it was a bet, a $5 bet.
A $5 bet drove him. You know, he was hanging out with gamblers. He was a poker player. One of the guys that was there, and you'll see it in the story, I believe we're talking about the same video. He had $15,000 in his pocket or something to that effect.
Right.
And he just handed it to him and let him borrow it. And that's what he went and bought the aircraft with.
Right.
And so that's kind of cool right there. Who does that?
Exactly.
Not very many people I know.
Right. Exactly.
But
so then he travels to Oklahoma and then somehow sweet talks the base commander into actually letting him fly one of the airplanes.
Yeah, he used a mannequin. So that's one of the things about this story, right? This really needed to be a movie. You didn't have to make anything up. It was very full of thrills by itself.
Right.
And then his wife, of course, at home, wishing he would hurry up and get home, and then tells him he can't fly anymore after he flies his P-51 under the Oregon City Bridge. He's a crazy man.
Wow.
That's another piece of the story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's a lot going on there.
So, but in that whole story, he basically flies the airplane to Troutdale, right?
Yes.
And then from there, it gets trucked to its location in Milwaukee.
Yes, so he had a group of friends. The first one he crashed, obviously, and crash landed it. And then he purchased a second one. And at that point, he wired home for friends that knew how to fly B-17s, and they came and helped him. And then they flew it home together. And there's a whole story about that as well. And then landed it in Troutdale, and then to avoid problems, he trucked it at 2 o'clock in the morning to its location in Milwaukee, Oregon. And had escorts, and it's a lot of fun. Fun story. I'm not going to spoil all this fun.
Right. You got to go watch the video.
Right.
So with that, how long did the airplane actually sit on top of that gas station?
Almost 70 years.
Almost 70 years.
Yeah, almost 70 years from 1948. Right at the Oregon in 1947, opened the business in 1948, and then we took it down and moved it in 2014. And then we opened this facility at the Salem Airport in Oregon in 2015. And then we have evolved since then. It just keeps growing, and it's been a long journey. There's been a lot to learn.
Right.
And you just can't go down the street and get to figure it out, right? You got to make it up as you go.
Exactly. So it's an evolving process and everything. So, can you kind of tell me a little bit about what you do as far as the volunteers? You have a bunch of volunteers that come out, and that's the primary driving force for getting this airplane done, because you're basically a nonprofit running with a museum. And
yes, it's multifaceted nonprofit. We are a 501c3, so all donations are tax deductible. We have over 200 volunteers, over 100 who are engaged, and over 50 who are here on a very regular basis. And so we manage all of that, and each time we run it like an organization, a corporate organization. You fill out an application, you apply, we connect you to jobs that you're capable of doing. So we get to know you, and then we connect you to what your talents are. You know, maybe you're really great at marketing, maybe you're great at aluminum for the aircraft, maybe you want to learn how to rivet. There's a lot, most people come because they want to work on the airplane, but there is so much more to do than that. We have about 20 events a year, so we need people to help with that. We need to keep the museum opened on a daily basis and share our stories, share those stories of World War II that we've collected, and also create new exhibits and organize the parts and track the parts. I mean, this just goes on. There's a plethora of jobs.
so if somebody wants to get in touch and help out, where should they go?
They should come to the museum. So a lot of people, they're on our website, b17alliance.com. There is an initial form. You can fill it out. It kind of gives you an idea of what we expect. And then the next step is to come and see us. We mostly need you here on site. We haven't really broken into distance volunteering. There are some things people could do, but we have a reputation to protect, so we're very careful about that.
Right, absolutely. Well, cool.
Can I answer this question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, now you have certain days you have volunteers that
Yes,
show
right now
up?
we're open to the public Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 10 to 4.
Okay.
So if you're interested, want a tour, just want to come see what's going on, Tuesdays, Thursdays, or Saturday at the Salem, Oregon Airport.
Okay.
Then if you're on the team, there are other days that we bring you in, but you got to get on the team first.
Right, absolutely.
Okay?
Cool.
All right.
Well, hey, thank you so much again.
Thank
for,
you. This is awesome.
yeah.
Love it. Love it.
This has just been I literally fell in love with this airplane when I heard the story of like how Art finagled his way to get the airplane here. And this
Very
it's
unique.
been very unique. And you know, I wish I would have met the guy because he sounds like a character.
He was really a wonderful man. You know, he had his days. He was a very driven man. He would not take no for an answer, so you can imagine living with someone like that. But on the other hand, he was a gentleman. He was generous. He really helped our community. He did a lot of really good things, and so that's the stuff you want to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's this whole airplane is a legacy, not only to the veterans,
Yes.
but to all the people who were involved, who were employees of the gas station, and listening to those stories.
Over 5,000 people worked at the gas station.
That's
alone.
incredible. Yeah.
And I think we talked on the phone, and I told you that in 1947 he dedicated it to all the men and women who served valiantly for our freedom.
That's right. There's a plaque that will eventually go into the museum. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and
That's
I
awesome.
use that slogan a lot because it's the men and women then, and it's the men and women now.
Right.
All of our veterans served for our country.
That's awesome. All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's all wrapped up.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Master Mixer cover slow, slight, drop.
Salem Airport, information Mike, 2056 Zulu, wind 360 at 5, visibility 10, sky clear, below 12,000, temperature 33, 2.14, altimeter 2980. Visual approach in use, landing and departing runways 31 and 34. Note 'em, use caution for a crane, 1.03 nautical miles, southeast, approach into runway 31, 152 feet AGL. Advise on our initial contact, you have information. Mike.
Good afternoon, Salem Tower, or ground. This is Stinson 9250 Kilo. Over here at the B-17 Museum. We'll request a north departure with Mike.
Calling ground in front of the hangars there to the south. Say again your call sign.
Stinson 9250 Kilo.
Stinson 9250 Kilo, runway 34, taxi via Charlie. Verify information Mike and say again the direction of flight.
34 via Charlie. We are northbound VFR and we have information Mike.
Thank you.
Salem Tower, Stinson 90250 Kilo, holding short 34 right at Charlie, ready to go northbound.
Guard 382, continue via Quebec to the ramp.
Quebec, ramp, Quebec 2022, have a good day.
Stinson 9250 Kilo, Salem Tower, northbound departure approved, runway 34, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 3450 Kilo. Lights, camera, action. Alright, heels down. Power coming. Power set. Fuselage, tails up.
That tomorrow isn't here right now, baby. An absent mind came to roam around. Captured you in a foggy cloud, baby. Standing on my toes on the edge, I'm ready to go. See it clear when the shadows are lit, I'm ready to go.
And it is hazy.
I'm taking matters into my own hands now. Let's face it, we only got this life to live out. So follow me,
200 feet.
ready to go.
Flaps up.
I'll take the lead, I'm ready to go. cloud, baby. Standing on my toes on the edge, I'm ready to go. See it clear when the shadows are lit, I'm ready to go. I'm taking matters into my own hands now.
Yeah, we're gonna have to skip the minute, Bill.
We only got this life to live out. So follow me, I'm ready to go. I'll take the lead, I'm ready to go. Even if you lose your hope, I will be there to pick you up. Even if you can't let go, I'll untie the invisible ropes that keep you down. I'm taking matters into my own hands now. Let's face it, we only got this life to live out. So follow me, I'm ready to go. I'll take the lead, I'm ready to go.
Scappoose Industrial Air Park Airport, Scappoose, Oregon. Automated weather observation 2205 Zulu. Wind 360 at 05. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 31 Celsius. Dew point 14 Celsius. Altimeter 2979. Remarks. Density altitude 2,100.
Scappoose traffic, Stetson 92502 is 6 miles to the southwest. We're inbound for a full stop landing at Scappoose.
Let's face it, we only got this life to live out. So follow me, I'm ready to go. I'll take the lead, I'm
Yeah, Scappoose traffic, Stetson 502 is left downwind 15 Scappoose.
Scappoose, Cessna 82 Whiskey Golf, turning left base 15 with traffic enemy in sight, Scappoose.
First traffic, 69733, number Victor on the go. Scappoose traffic, Simpson 50 kilos, left base 15, full stop. Scappoose.
I'll untie the invisible ropes that keep you down.
Scappoose traffic, Simpson 50 kilo, turning final, full stop. Scappoose.
Matters into my own hands now. Let's face it, we only got this life to live out. So follow me, I'm ready to go. I'll take the lead, I'm ready to go.
Scappoose traffic, Cessna 82 Whiskey Golf, turning final for 15, traffic in sight, Scappoose.
Scappoose traffic, Stock 733, November Victor departing off the cross to the southeast. Scappoose.
Scappoose traffic, Center 9250 Kilo is going to be taking 15, and we are departing to the north. Scappoose?
So where are you coming back from?
Went down and did a visit at the B-17 Restoration Center at Salem.
All right, sounds good. I'll see you at Hood River.
Absolutely, man. We'll see you there. Scappoose traffic, Center 50 Kilo, rolling 15. Scappoose.
And Scappoose 170 is taxiing across the approach end of 15 gas pump.
There's speed. There's the tail. Woo! Popped her head up. That was weird. Feet, and we are over obstacles because there's nothing out here with
Scappoose traffic, Cessna 172 crossing at the approach end 15 to the gas pump. Scappoose.
Traffic, Center 50 Kilo, left crosswind from 15. We're continuing northbound. Scappoose. Scappoose traffic, Center 50 Kilo is left downwind. We're continuing off the downwind leg northbound at Scappoose. Stinson 50 Kilo, you're following a 7.5 mile final. Number 2, runway 16 right, clear to land. You're ahead of a Warrior 5 mile final. Okay, traffic in sight. We'll follow then. Number 2, clear to land. 16 right, 50 Kilo. Warrior 901 Hotel, you're following a Stinson midfield downwind. Number 3, runway 16 right, clear for the option, report missed.
Clear for the option 16 right, one number 3, report missed, 901 Hotel.
X-ray, traffic falls passing off your left, you'll be number 2, and we're 16 left, clear touching up. Combo 4956, ready to go, 4956, roger, stand by for landing traffic. 16 combo 5083, I'm going to have a 737 departing here shortly for now. Change runway 16 left, we have 5 miles straight in front, runway 16 left. 16 left, 38. Number 88, change 550, 120.2. 120.283. Stinson 50 kilo, Alpha 3, ground 1, go. Good day. Alpha 3.850 kilo, thank you. That was 40. Convoy 4956, I got one more arrival on 2 mile final, and then I'll get you going. No problem, thanks, Convoy 4956. Paying ground, Stinson 90250 kilo, Alpha 3 for left, Alpha 3 for East Condos.
Stinson 50 kilo, paying ground, begin your taxi via Alpha Juliet Delta.
Alpha Juliet Delta 50 kilo. And paying ground, would it help you out if I go all the way down to Echo for 50 kilo?
50 kilo, that'd be perfect actually. Taxi via Alpha Echo and then hold short of Delta 2.
Alright, Alpha Echo, hold short, Delta 2, 50 kilo. Kilos at Delta 2.
50 kilo, taxi via Delta 2, Lima Golf, hold short of runway 16, Delta Golf 3.
Delta Lima Golf, hold short, 16 left at Golf 3.
50 kilo, cross runway 16 left at Golf 3, continue your taxi via Foxtrot.
Alright, clear to cross 16 left at Golf 3 is Foxtrot. And parking straight ahead, 50 kilo.
Well, that was a treat to be able to be that close to a piece of history and talk to the people who are involved in the restoration of such an amazing aircraft. If you ever in the area, stop by and check out their museum. You can get just as close to that airplane as I did. And there are so many stories, and it's great that that museum is telling the stories of not just World War II veterans, but for honoring all veterans. And it's something special to be a part of that. So thanks for following along on this one, and going down 4 hours down there and back, and I probably put more time on the engine since that, but this is the first time I've had to add a quart of oil, so I think our oil issues are in the past. So, but thank you so much, and may all your flying be good flying.